What's happening, everyone? Before this next leg of podcast show starts, this is a reminder to you not to be a minge bag. Go over to Patreon, sign up for £1 a week and take advantage of all the Patreon perks. It is the Patreon that pays. We have a betting show on a Saturday, which the postman here is picking winners every single week.
Yeah, the betting show comes out Saturday mornings, covers UFC and boxing, footy when we're in the footy season. But yeah, we're winning on a weekly basis. I can't remember the last week we didn't find some sort of winner. So yeah, as Andy says, don't be a minge bag, come and get involved. And as I say, it's one of the best communities that you could be a part of, isn't it?
It's a belter. As well as the betting show on a Wednesday, me and Jord have a chat. That's where you might have seen on our Insta Reels about crocs, about harpooning people at the end of the night, all that kind of chat that goes on. And even better, every single Wednesday we do a raffle draw, and our sponsors Montrex give £100 gift voucher away just for being on Patreon. No better time to join. There's 30 plus episodes already that you can go back and watch. Again, no better time. Get involved. Don't be a minge bag. £1 a week, and we'll see you there. What's happening, everyone? Happy Friday. It's the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant.
It's me, Jordan Neal.
Before we kick off, some big announcements. Heavy announcements coming your way.
Heavy without the H.
Heavy. So, on Wednesday is our Patreon show that gets released. And as of the first Wednesday in July, every single Wednesday, our sponsors, Montrex, big shout out to them, are going to be giving away a £100 gift voucher every single Wednesday to anyone who supports us on Patreon. So you can still get your Lega code, which will be, as we say, Lega, after checkout. But if you want to be in with a chance of winning a £100 voucher every single week, all you got to do is jump on Patreon. It's £1 a week, and in doing so, you get your £100 raffle that you'll be in. You get the sports show, which you get anyway. You get the betting show,
which is flying.
Which you've, I think, genuinely cleaned up 7 out of 8 weeks, I think.
8 out of 9, I think, now.
Is it? And I think I was on the other few before that.
Yeah. Oh, as soon as August comes back, you're back in.
And then you got the Wednesday show where we talk about harpooning people and at 2 o'clock in the morning.
The Wednesday show is off limits.
Where he talks about crocs and, all that kind of stuff, pot noodles. No better time to get involved on Patreon. So massive shout out to Montrex, our sponsors. £100 raffle every single Wednesday.
Of the best gear that you can...
As well as that, look at that, Health Kick Kitchen.
Let me read this out to the people.
Oh my God, this is heavy, this.
This is salt and pepper chicken, chips and curry. 450 calories. And... look,
I'm not into calorie counting, but that's healthy.
No, but you don't have to calorie count, they do it for you. If you just want to clean your lifestyle up a bit and still want to eat top drawer food, get in touch, because that looks unreal.
You get Lega 10 for 10% off Health Kitchen, and also we've got 20% off Ver. You type in Lega 20 on Ver clothing. All the info is in the description, but again, get on Patreon. That's where it's at. Loads more coming.
Yep.
But big shout out Montrex for our raffle. Lad, onto sport.
Heating up.
Energy's high today.
Yeah.
It's just fucking on a high with sport.
Got to start one place, haven't we?
Wimbledon.
The old grass court.
Gotta be.
Is it the most famous court in the world?
Hallowed grass turf.
Yeah, even though it does get a bit brown.
Yeah, by like...
the hallowed green and brown turf.
By like end of July, July, it's fucked, innit?
Is it the most famous court in the world? Was that
it might be the oldest.
Yeah. Just seen Nadal's interview after his game. He was just like... He just seemed really genuinely happy to be back. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but did you see one of the things that came up this week was obviously... It may be one of the oldest. It's one of the, like you say, Nadal holds it in high regard. Women, not so. Because of the rules of Wimbledon and the etiquette, it's all in white, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
and a few ladies have came out and said that because of the menstrual cycle, it's sometimes a bit... It's not great to have to wear white.
I can see that, though.
If it's that time of the month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something you want to be thinking about your period when you're about to line up for a Wimbledon final.
It's unfortunately what most women have to.
It's quite... I mean, I was going to try and make a joke, but there's not really a joke to be made there. It's quite...
It is outdated, but like it's also a tradition, isn't it?
It's one of them. Yeah, how much do you kind of then go, okay, yeah, women have periods, let's not make them wear white, and then how much do you go, well, actually, it's a tradition.
When it was set, unfortunately, people didn't give a flying about what women wanted, did they?
No.
But now, when we live
clearly in America, people still don't care about what women want.
Quite clearly, yeah. But like where you're at now, where women's opinion is rightly held in the same regard as men's in most places.
It is an interesting one, though. I mean,
I just think, but this is a big problem across all sport, because I have this thing about, Because obviously, naturally, you weigh more when you're in your menstrual cycle. I'm no doctor.
Naturally, like, he goes through it once a month
No,
himself.
but that's what happens, doesn't it? Like,
Fucking
basic science would say that. So, what if a woman's boxing and has to weigh in and weighs more because she's naturally on a menstrual cycle?
What happens if they go to do the bout and they go, right, Eddie Hearn goes, right, you're fighting this date, and she goes, actually, I'm on my period that day.
But they don't. I don't think they get that choice. They just go.
No, you can take a tablet, can't you, to delay your period and stuff.
But it's still, you shouldn't have to. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't have to, but it's just another thing for women to deal with, isn't it? But yeah, I don't think.
You didn't think the sports show would start off talking about women's periods, did you?
No, you definitely didn't. But it's a talking point, isn't it?
I did see that come up in the news this week. Yeah, a couple of them just basically said, yeah, it is.
I don't understand why you have to wait. I know why you have to wait, because every other tournament, like, it's your kit, isn't it?
Yeah, don't know. I don't think it'll change though.
No, it definitely won't change. Not when there's fucking bored and old white men at the top.
No. There were a few mad little stories. I've seen that one come out. Sean McKee, big shout out to Sean, sent me an interesting article. There was a lad who was playing, and his story of how we kind of came to tennis was his next door neighbour, I think it was, I'd noticed like there was loads of apples in his garden, and he looked and his tennis rackets had gone. So he kind of goes to look in his back garden and sees like his next door neighbour, who was obviously a kid, and all his brothers, like whacking apples using his tennis racket.
He nicked them?
Yeah.
Sick that.
And he kind of just seen something in this lad's swing and was like, you'd be alright at tennis shoe.
What, and pushed him in?
Pushed him along the tennis route, and he's at Wimbledon now.
Fucking hell.
I love little stories like that.
That's proper. That's just fate, that.
Yeah.
Right place, right time, all that stuff.
Swinging an apple in a certain way for someone to go.
In these goals, you're going to have a sick serve.
Yeah.
I've watched a few boss tennis documentaries, though, you know. What was that one on Netflix?
There's a good one about Agassi. He was on heroin in that, wasn't he? Or smack or something.
Yeah.
Andre Agassi.
Yeah, but there was one. It was called Untold. It was about a guy called Mardy Fish.
Right. Okay.
So he was. He was
not a swimmer.
No, he was a tennis player.
He fucking missed that one, didn't he?
Oh, Mardy Fish. That wasn't even funny. But you threw me off a proper good story there. I'm all over the place. Anyway, he was like Andy Roddick's best mate growing up, but I think he beat Roger Federer, or he was like in a final with him, and right before the game he had a mental breakdown.
I know.
Yeah, and then eventually made a comeback, but then he quit not long after, and he's a coach now. But yeah, it's called Untold Breaking Point, Mardy Fish, and it's really good.
Yeah, you know what? I am a massive tennis fan, you know.
Do you know what I am? When I watched Serena Williams the other day, and I do this every year. I'm going to say, right, I'm watching it, and I don't, but it's just such like a casual, friendly sport.
Yeah, it's so easy to get involved when there's a big tournament.
Because you can just appreciate what they're doing, because if anyone swung a tennis racket,
you realise how
hard it is to do what they do. Even warming up.
Yeah.
Serena Williams was warming up the other day, and the girl who beat her, the name slips my mind, but they were just warming up, and you're thinking, mate, that is like, that would be impossibly hard to do.
I was gutted when Serena got beat.
Yeah, it was her first game in almost a year, wasn't it? And you could tell she was a bit, she was hitting shots.
I just think more sadness for me is like, it's a bit like the men's game where you see like kind of, Federer, Nadal and...
The human.
Yeah, you just think that they've been superhuman for so long, and now it's maybe starting to become apparent that, they're not.
I was watching it with my wife and saying, like, with Serena Williams, she's still so impressive though, isn't she? She's like, I don't know what it is with sportsmen, like musicians have kind of got it as well. When you look at her, she just looks like she's like more of a human than other people. Do you know what I mean? She's so like she carries herself like someone who has achieved what she has. But to be fair play to the girl, what was the girl who beat her? Tan, was it?
I'm not sure. I didn't actually see that game.
Yeah, she didn't. Tan. I think it was her first game at Wimbledon, but she Harmony Tan. She kept it cool, mate. Even in big pressure moments, she looked like she was made for
it. Obviously,
someone who didn't
make it. Emma Raducanu.
And I'm going to hand the mic over to Andrew Grant.
But you know what's funny is someone messaged me. I can't remember who it was. Someone messaged me and said, go easy on her. Listen, I hope she does well. But I just think she is in a very unfortunate position. And you know what? It's not even her. It's the media. I've just went boom. And I don't understand those tennis rankings. She went up to like 11th in the world from that one US Open.
It's all points though, innit?
I know, but lad, they need to sort that point system out then, because that then puts more pressure on it, puts more media scope on it. And doing the research that I've done, since she won that US Open, how many games do you think she's won in a row in a period?
None.
The most she's won is 2 games in a row.
Back to back?
Back to back. in a year. So the next tournament is the US Open, starts after Wimbledon. In a whole calendar year of tennis, she has not won more than 2 games in a row.
That's crazy.
How mad's that? I mean, she's 19. She said herself, there's no pressure on me when I'm going to defend my title in the US. There's no pressure, and there shouldn't be, but there is.
No, of course there is.
Do you know what I mean?
As much as you say there's no pressure, there is. It's fact. But I was reading something about endorsements. Mate, do you know the amount of money that endorsements are worth? It's like £500 million or something like that.
Well, that's why it's like... It's like that old boxer who said, the famous boxer who said it's hard to go for a run when you're sleeping in silk
pajamas.
I mean, she can come out and say, look, I am focused on tennis, and she might be, but she played a girl yesterday who was ranked 55 in the world, right? She's getting smoked by them, 6-3, 6-3.
But it's got to be a mentality thing, because no one can convince me that she hasn't got like top tier ability. She's got to have, lad. Because I mean, you don't win them tournaments unless you're special.
No, I disagree on that.
Lad, you
can. I'm not saying she's not special, by the way.
Yeah.
Listen, she's phenomenal. Of what you know, but there are flukes sometimes, lad. Look at Liverpool and Istanbul. Lad, they were the best team.
What didn't she like not drop a set or something like that?
Remember that Goran Ivanisevic years ago? He was a Croatian in like the national army in Croatia. He was a wild card in Wimbledon, won it.
Yeah.
It does happen now and again.
Yeah, but I think the way she's done it, she's clearly got the ability to hang at that level. I just think it shows you though at that level, probably a couple of levels below as well, talent's not enough. You have to be all in. You'll have to be right physically, mentally, emotionally. Like your mindset's got to be, everything's got to click to win.
At the same time.
And that's why Federer, Nadal, Djokovic are so impressive, because they never ever, no matter what came their way, the tennis was the best. Like you look at, you compare it to other sports. Mike Tyson, he succumbed to it, didn't he? When on the way up, he's brilliant. As soon as it gets over, his performances. Floyd Mayweather, I know someone give me stick saying I need a life if I watch him every week, but he was the same. No matter what come his way, it didn't affect his ability to perform.
I do think though that the British media, the renowned for it, building it up to bring you down, they've put a lot of pressure on her. And I think it's because we've been so shite at tennis for so long. She wins a Grand Slam, first female to kind of, for a long time to do it. It's like, wow.
Yeah. I think that I kind of like, it's 100% a factor. But again, that's why the discussion we're going to have coming on, that's why I think Murray's career is so impressive, because he had all that.
Well, funny you should say that. Just before we started recording, I had a little debate on Twitter. Someone said, Murray's go down as one of the greats. You agreed with him. Yeah. I disagree. Listen, phenomenal tennis player and probably one of the best Great Britain have ever produced.
Gotta be the best, hasn't he?
Well, yeah. I don't know any others back in the past, but maybe he is, yeah.
Or just him and Tim Emin.
No, I mean back in the day, there's got to have been someone, I don't know my tennis history, unfortunately, but he's not one of the greats.
He is, mate.
He's not.
He's not the great, but he's definitely in the list.
I think he's won 9 Grand Slams. You look at Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic. I think they're all around 19, 20, 21.
They're the best 3 tennis players to ever live, though. He was the only, not the only one. That's a disservice to the other players, but he was the one who got closest to them, and he should get some level of respect for being able to bridge that gap. Kinda. He was the only one who could really get there. You had the likes of, even going Andy Roddick, for example, who we were speaking about. They go there and they get close. But he was consistently getting close to him in his prime. But it's not his fault he was born in that generation, lad.
I feel like I'm being a bit harsh on him. Look, he's a great player, yeah, but one of the greats, though, I don't know.
If you're talking like...
He just seems like the nearly man to me.
Yeah, like, I think he's the nearly man, not out of his own doing.
Well, he's just unfortunate he was happened to be born in
it weren't like he was underperforming, though, was he? Like, people might shoot me down for this, but you seen Rory McIlroy. I sort of see... although I'm not a golf expert, he does underperform quite a lot, doesn't he? I don't ever think Andy Murray was ever underperforming. I think he was at his maximum very, very consistently, but his maximum was just couldn't live with them 3.
So there you go. That then...
But they're the 3 greatest of all time. That doesn't mean he can't be included on the list, lad. No one will get close to them 3 for the next 100 years.
He's probably on a list, yeah, just not the greatest ever list.
But the greatest ever list is 3 people, innit?
So, look at Sampras, he'd be on there.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have got close to them.
Even Sampras would have.
To Federer, Nadal and Djokovic, he wouldn't, lad.
Sorry for anyone who's listening, but I need to fucking Google quickly.
But because he's won tournaments, that doesn't change.
Grand Slams
that doesn't change that because he's not playing against them, is he?
Still.
It's not like because it's a different...
Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, Sampras.
Yeah, and I 100% agree, but if you dropped him in that era, he wouldn't have won anywhere near as many as them as they did. I'm not saying he's not a great player, clearly he was, but they're freaks.
Like Murray's a long way down, you know.
But if he was performing in the same era as Pete Sampras...
So glad I googled this, lad, because Murray's low.
Yeah, but he's only low because of them, lad.
He's 18th in the world ever.
I know, but you're not listening.
I am.
It's not his fault, lad. Either one. In any other era, Andy Murray would go down as the best in that era.
Disagree.
It's
a sports show, lad. Disagree.
The fact he won anything when he was in a generation with them should be applauded.
I agree.
And he won more than one.
I agree.
So you have to give him some credit, even if he is.
Let me know your
divisive.
thoughts. Does Andy Murray go down as one of the greatest?
I'm not. Before anyone says,
hang on.
Oh my God, shit, Andy Murray's the greatest tennis player. He's not. I'm just saying he's on the list.
Okay, let's just say in the greatest top 10 tennis players of all time, does Andy Murray make it? Yes or no?
Yeah.
No for me. Big fat no. And on that note, he got beat by someone who's got the best serve ever. By the way,
how big?
Lad, big.
John, isn't it?
Big.
6'9", they say?
Bigger.
Well bigger.
No, do that thing where he goes, where Trump. How many times did Donald Trump lie? 100 more. 100 more. How big isn't it? 6 foot? Bigger.
Lad, he's 7'9" at least.
Lad, I watched one game of him serve and I just threw a bet on him. I was like, he's not getting beat.
Murray hit a cross-court shot with proper power and he went...
Lad, his wingspan like an albatross bird.
Yeah,
just like
talking about underestimating, underachieving with his, what would you call it?
Stature.
Aesthetics.
Yeah,
he should have won a lot more. But he's just traded on being like an absolute unit.
Well, all he's got to do is just hope that he can beat the other player in a kind of you know, in a what you call like a back and forth, because he's
rally
in a rally. Sorry, yeah. I mean, when he plays like Djokovic beat him 2-0 a few months back. 2-0. So I think.
Yeah, he's not at the top table.
To be fair, I think Isner will get beat in the next round.
If you're not top of your game, he's going to find you out, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll get beat in the next game. And the last one on tennis from me, before we move on, because it's a busy show this week, is the Australian Kyrgios.
Kyrgios, yeah.
Is that how you say his name?
Kyrgios, I think.
Yeah.
You can say it anyway. I call him Nick.
Yeah, Nick, his name is absolute blurt, is what he is.
Do you know what though? He's funny.
I think
there's loads of stuff he's done. That is funny, lad. Like, have you seen a press conference where the girl goes, and he goes, "You were at the pub last night with the girl."
Oh yeah, I think I have.
And then there's other stuff where he turned around and he's like, he's laughing with the crowd and like stuff like that.
I don't know. I just think he's a bit of a bell.
Yeah, and then he does that stuff where he's like,
well, he spat at the umpire.
Yeah, I don't like that. But
spat in the direction.
I think a lot of what he does is a thirst for fame rather than actually being disgruntled about what's happening.
Well, I think from what I seen, the umpire he was having a moan because I think the crowd were making some noises, etc. when he was about to play a shot. He thought it was unprofessional and stuff, etc. And he started saying stuff, and then the umpire tries to have his back and saying, they're doing it to try and wind you up.
Yeah.
So it looked like she was on his side initially, and then
but she was. I think stuff. What the umpire was saying is what I'm saying. She's saying they know you're going to react, so just get on with your tennis. Like, but I think it's a fame thing rather than an actual.
I thought he was a bit of a dickhead shout when he was like, "I don't come up to you when you're in the supermarket doing your little 9 to 5 and like clap at you when you scan your groceries." Yeah, like don't try and belittle people, mate, just because you work in a supermarket and you're a tennis player. Yeah,
I think he's got that one horribly wrong. Yeah. But again, a very talented player, but just got that one horribly wrong.
Yeah. I think that's it from tennis.
Yeah, but I'm loving Wimbledon. Let me know let us know your thoughts on Wimbledon, because I'm loving it.
If you want to let us know anything, Andy Murray top 10 or not, because Jordan needs to be wrong. You've got a few wrong lately,
I haven't.
On Patreon especially.
What did I get wrong?
Crocs
got
you'd rather wear Crocs than go to Glasgow if you had one.
But I didn't say that. You said what's one thing someone should enjoy in their life, and I just said the comfort of Crocs. But when you said, if you listen to the show, Glasgow, I went, yeah, because that's something you should experience, but it's really predictable and boring. Okay. Just because I've got a little archive of funny gifts.
Oh, fucking hell.
And you've got to go, yeah, I went to Glasgow last week, Glasgow.
Which was fucking amazing, by the way.
But if you want to know more about Glastonbury,
get on Patreon. On to footy. Transfer merry-go-round continues.
The Blues are in front and centre, aren't they?
Well, this show's recorded Thursday, so it's midnight tonight, i.e. kind of Friday morning. I think that's when the new fair play thing comes in.
FFP.
And they've got to make the books balance by then, etc.
I think by the time this show's out, or by the time it's...
Yeah. Richarlison will be in North London in white of Tottenham. I'll be honest, right, and I don't want no Blues to think I'm on the wind-up here or trying to whatever. I think the Blues loved him more for how he kind of embodied the Evertonians, and he had to go at Carrot on Twitter, and he was a bit like, I'm a Blue, and he had the flair, and he was against the Reds, and you know, he was wind up for the Reds and stuff like that. I think they love him more for what he actually done on the pitch.
Yeah, but don't we all? Don't we all fall in love with characters rather than ability?
I get that, yeah. I mean, there's the whole Suarez thing. People kind of loved him for how he was a bit, but he was great though.
Yeah, he was, but people definitely loved the character as well. I think when you're Everton and you're in the position you're in, it's hard to... You're not seeing much success, so you're going to cling to people who embody it and stuff, aren't you?
And listen, I've got nothing against that. And I agree, you know, as fans, we are fickle and we do fall in love with a character, and sometimes what they do on the pitch goes amiss. If you're looking at them solely on the pitch, fuck me, 50 million miles up to 60, I think that's a lot of money to be spending on them.
I think Everton are on a bum deal because they only bought him for 50 or 35, wasn't it?
And they've got to give a payback to kickback to Watford
but
as well.
I don't think he hit any of the add-ons that Watford put in the clauses. So I think they only have to pay them a real small amount. I think part of his... I think they had a sell-on fee, which is like 5% or something. But then Everton had loads of clauses, like qualifying for the Champions League, scored in X amount that he's never hit. So I don't think they have to give Watford a substantial amount, if I'm right. But again, Tottenham have really put the stall out and gone after players. But I don't know whether, as long as Everton can reinvest the money and financial fair play doesn't play with them too much, not for the play on words there, doesn't like get in the way too much, I think you can reinvest that money and get better than Richarlison. I totally agree with you there. But I just think...
That is a big if, though, if they're going to be able to reinvest that money.
I think if they can't reinvest it, look at last season, you're taking away a player who was like talisman for it.
You say talisman, 10 goals I think he got.
No, I know, but some of them were big, weren't they? The Crystal Palace ones. You know, he got the equaliser there, didn't he? And he scored a couple of big goals. And to be fair to him, he stood up and was countered, at least in that running. You know, he had the character to deal with it. But I think, it all depends on how Everton can reinvest the money. If they can't, then I think they're in a bit of trouble. But
it is a mad one, isn't it? I mean, Spurs, listen, if Conte can get them going and he's playing alongside Kane and Son, listen, he might prove me wrong, but I just don't think he's I just don't think...
I think he's a good player.
I don't rate him.
But I hold him in the same regard as someone we're going to... Like Gabriel Jesus. Same sort of thing. Like, I think...
Come on, Jesus is way better than him.
I wouldn't say so, really, lad. Not, if you look at Brazil, Richarlison plays more.
Because he hasn't been playing much for City, has he, Jesus, this season?
That's what I mean. But I think if Richarlison played for City, for example, he'd do pretty much the same what Jesus does with the amount of chances created. I just don't see him as like a top number 9 who's going to go and, you know... spearhead a new generation, but I really quite like what Conte is doing at Spurs, because
he's won 3 or 4 signings they've got.
Yeah, but they got to the Champions League, didn't he? And then I think he said to Spurs at one point, if I'm not the man, I'm not the man. Make a decision. And I think that sort of swung momentum his way in terms of being like, this is my club. You either want me in and I'm going to control it, or get rid of me. And I think Spurs succumb to that a little bit.
He's in a bit of a position of fuck you, and he's got the money, just got the reputation. He's like, listen,
he's a good man, yeah.
I'll be here and I'll do it, but if you don't sound, fuck off. You know
I think it's almost that, like, Spurs now rely on him rather than him relying on Spurs for the job. I think, you know, I'm quite worried about our position, but I don't think they'd catch us. I think we'd finish first or second by default, but I think they'll be the closest in the chasing path.
I agree. I can see them finishing third. Other signings, Jesus, just mentioned them going to Arsenal. You've got Rafinha going to Chelsea.
That's a good signing, but he's very similar to that Ziyech who they've got, and they didn't make it work with him. Chelsea's fucked, man.
Well, on Chelsea, just to go off transfers for a second, I've seen a proper harrowing, sad story, more about the internal staff. I think it was in the Chelsea's marketing department. They had a young lad commit suicide. I think the boss, whoever it was there, has been like maybe sacked or has been going against a few tribunals or something, but the way he's been speaking to people, the way he's been treating people, there's been loads of misconduct going on. That's horrible reporting, The Athletic. Just not a nice place to work, apparently, Chelsea.
No. I think
all kinds going on there and just...
poison from the inside out, Chelsea, at the minute. And I think...
That's what it sounds like.
But it's company culture, innit? I think, you know, the way they present themselves would have been the way things are working inside. And when you... I think for everyone, it's like a dream job. I had a friend who was a game analyst for the Premier League team. And he said to me, like, you think it's the dream job. You think, oh my God, I'm travelling with the team to this place and that place. And he said, but when you're getting spoken to the way you do, and you know, nice, it's not nice. But I think Chelsea, you know, they've just given Lukaku back on a loan to. That's a crazy. I would have given Lukaku a chance, and I don't think he's been given a fair chance.
Did you see the stats on Lukaku? Like what they've paid for him per goal? It's like they paid 10 million a goal for him.
He'll go to Inter and bang the goals in. It's crazy. I don't know what. It all comes down to the manager for me. Yeah. I'm not having him. I have him from the start.
Really?
I just don't get it, lad.
Nah, I think he'll do well with them. In time he will.
I think he's an egotistical maniac. Like, last year not playing Lukaku, no one can convince me it was anything other than him trying to show, like, you know, I'm not playing him. No, he's not going
Lukaku, though, doesn't seem like the easiest player to manage, though.
Why did Inter get it right?
I don't know, lad. He was at Chelsea, didn't work. You know, he went to Everton, arguably successful there. United, not worked. Chelsea, not worked.
I think Mourinho, he clashed with Mourinho, I think he didn't he?
But maybe it's his ego.
But when he goes places and they allow him to play, he scores goals. It's not like he's Balotelli, is it?
No.
It's just weird. But
it's a weird one, but they fucked up there, Chelsea, with the money they've spent on him. Then I think they've only loaned him back. But
Everton are, just to touch back on Everton, they're in close to that takeover as well, aren't they? That's another mad one. Like Mashiri come in with all these crazy plans and the stadium's halfway done, and then it's like, right, we're selling them to an American family who's fronted by Peter Kenyon, who's obviously got a long history in running football clubs. But it just seems like, why now? Why would you want to get out now?
I just think there's so much murky waters with all this financial fair play stuff. I think there's some people a bit like, oh fucking hell. Yeah,
but how much of his money's in that stadium?
Don't know. Do you reckon he's bothered? He's just spunked £500 million.
No, because £500 million. I had this conversation. £500 million to him is £500,000 to a successful businessman. Do you know what I mean? That's the level of wealth that he's playing with. So I don't think he would. But I just can't, like, why would you come in and make these plans and get the stadium running? Because as much as we like the underperforming on the pitch, there's stuff around Everton that's quite exciting, isn't it? They got a young manager, they got the new stadium coming, like, you know, they're still bringing players through the academy. It's there. All that you need is there. It's just putting it together. But
so much like murky water, though, man. It's like, it's hard to get excited, I think.
I know, but let's see what these family come in and do. But again, any ownership.
Well, other bad owners there. I've seen United haven't quite got that De Jong from Barca over the line.
Trying the best, aren't they?
Trying the best. Barca are also in the shit, need a bit more money. And I just seen last week that the Glazers took out 11 million quid in dividends. And it's like, hang on.
That's Neville's argument, isn't it? Gary Neville.
Yeah, it's like, hang on, just put that 11 million quid back and sign a player who's going to improve you. But instead they're like, nah, we want our money first, and then you can have whatever's left.
It's a business for them, lad. Doesn't mean anything.
Which is a bit fucked. And United still haven't signed anyone, which is a bit...
I said this today in a WhatsApp group chat I'm in. I don't even think he's a bad manager, that guy. I don't know too much about him, but he comes across well. But he'll be gone in a year because there's too much going on.
I don't know. I don't think they can't continue to do what
I know, but once you get in them doors, I try and look at what Mourinho said a lot about United, and he said just that everything's great until you walk through the doors and you realise what's going on. And I think Neville alludes to it quite a lot. There's no way anyone can be successful at United for the next 10 years. It's impossible, that, because you've got to do a whole nother cycle of getting not just players out, but getting a whole new, coming under new ownership, and the ground's a mess, isn't it?
Yeah,
like they fell behind, and
the training ground apparently as well. Rooney left Derby as well. No, that was a week or two ago. Might have missed that, but I seen that was quite sad to see him
Impossible
go.
Job, isn't it?
Yeah. And then a bit more off subject to go with the World Cup. That Josh Cavallo, the Cavallo, is it the
first gay player,
Australian lad? He's done a bit of a thing on Sky Sports, and it's quite sad just thinking about the fees he's got going to play footy, just because it's in Qatar. You know, and I'm sure he'll be all right safety wise, but it's like he might have friends who are coming who are gay, he might have a partner who's gay, and
some of the Welsh backroom staff quit, didn't he?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Because they were gay, and he's
whether they're out or not, but sort of said, we got you to Qatar. we're going to step away because obviously we don't want to go there.
No.
And I think, mate, honest to God, there'll be hundreds of conversations going behind closed doors of teams. Because I guarantee you now, there's someone in the England setup who's gay. I don't know if it's a player, backroom staff. There's someone in there who's gay, lad. And I would say, in over 0.5% of the squads, there's somebody who's gay. It at some degree of like player, coach, backroom staff, whatever it may be. And
why are you so certain?
Because it just
takes one to know one.
Maybe. Oh, sorry, Emily. But yeah, but there's got
to be someone in the Premier. I wouldn't say.
I think there's multiple Premier League players because it's just you can't have that many males in a sport and there not be a gay person. It just doesn't add up, lad. And there's nothing wrong with it, but the fact they got to hide it obviously is terrible.
That's the problem, innit?
Yeah, but I think I you know full well my opinion on international football, but the World Cup is pathetic being over there, and I hope it's a massive failure.
Yeah. No, I know, I'm not massive on it.
Have we got anything on the Reds? Because we're not doing anything, are we?
Fuck all on the Reds, lad.
I'm scared,
One thing about the Reds is someone who did leave recently was Michael Edwards. I think whoever signs him will be the best signing in the summer. You look at
what a position he's in.
Oh.
Just go, right, I'm available for work, and just let that.
Here's what I've done with Liverpool. Here's my CV. Want everything about who wants me services.
I'm going to put my phone on airplane mode till about next Thursday. Let me know your offers. And then he goes somewhere.
That could be a big sign.
We could do with him. We're not doing anything.
Whoever gets him.
And we're just letting our whole squad go.
It is mad, innit? Our midfield's just... what's the word?
Depleted. We've got Fabinho, Henderson and Thiago, haven't we? Unless he's convinced by Jones and Elliott.
And the new kid.
But he's just...
Fulham.
Yeah, Carvalho.
He's about 30.
Yeah. But we let Sadio go. We brought Nunes in sound. Minamino go, who was like our top scorer in cup competition, so we clearly needed him. Divock's gone. Chamberlain's going to go.
I'm with you. I think we
better get back on them runs, lad. You might get the call up, you know. Number 29, Andy Grant.
We need a midfielder, lad, 100%.
We're not going to get one, though, Andy.
I think we will. No, I think we will. I think we'll get that Bellingham.
This year?
Yeah.
If you're right,
I think about when we got Fabinho, it just come out of nowhere. I remember going, who the fuck's this? And we signed him and he's great.
Maybe we're doing that thing where we did with Diaz, where we wanted to buy him in a certain period, but then because of the interest we brought it forward 6 months. But,
yeah. I think we'll, because even if Jones and Harvey Elliott do well, injuries permitting, you still need someone else.
He was on holiday with Lampard, wasn't
he? Who was?
Bellingham.
Was he?
Yeah.
We're talking about houses, where to buy Liverpool.
Oh, do not go there, lad. Please. But yeah, I'm worried about us at the minute.
On that, have you seen all the free transfers?
The free transfer 11?
Yeah, I want to give you a couple of players. You tell me you want. Dani Alves.
No.
Tarkowski, if he doesn't go
good
to
player.
Everton.
Yeah. If he should go to Everton, good player.
Marcelo.
No.
Mata.
Yeah.
Lingard.
Don't mind Lingard.
Ericsson.
Player.
Suarez.
No. Boo.
Diabla, is it? You know, the Juventus can never say his name. Diabla, is it?
Paulo Dybala. Player.
What's I call him?
Diabla.
Fucking hell.
Fucking Escobar's right hand man.
And Dembele.
Not Musa, is he? Oh, he retired.
No,
what a player Musa Dembele was.
You know what, Lingard, would he be the worst shout?
For Liverpool? Yeah, he's not good enough for Liverpool, but Everton, I would take him. West Ham, he should go back to West Ham. He was one of the best players in the league at that point.
Ericsson as well.
Yeah, Ericsson United, didn't he?
I don't know, I thought Lingard was alright when he was playing well, but he just looked like he just got the temperament.
Yeah, but when he went to West Ham, he was scoring goals, creating goals.
That's what I mean, yeah.
But I just don't think, if he come to Liverpool, it'd be the exact same at Man United. He played in there, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I suppose. And really, the last one for me on the old foosball was, I read a good article again on The Athletic, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. A lot of these, influencers, personal trainers, if you like, and also the players themselves want to be seen to looking cool on the beach, not on the beach, but like in Mallorca or whatever, with a trainer, doing football drills, running and stuff like that. And I think the clubs are kind of saying, look, you're our prized asset worth 100 million. We pay you, 3, 4, 5 million pounds a year. Who the fuck are you training with? Like, I don't want you training with just some fucking Instagram off PT. Do our fucking program. We have you for, say, 46 weeks of the year. And we're paying you. We're, telling you what to eat, what to drink, what to do. And then these players are now taking it on their own and just hiring maybe the mates, or I'm sure the top players are getting the right people in. But
Yeah,
it was an interesting article to read, actually, is it?
Yeah, there's no way them players can go without getting signed off, though. There's no way, lad.
No, lad, you know the way Instagram is now, and people are trying to look cool. And
the problem is, though, it used to be, resting is very important, but it used to be that you could go and get pissed for 6 weeks. You can't now.
No, I know.
Because
I know
you come
that.
back to the Prem and you're done.
No, I know that, but it was interesting to see.
No, it is an interesting article, but you know, individual and private one-to-one coaching and all that stuff's big money in it, especially in like the Middle East and stuff.
Yeah.
Where you can, you know, if you get yourself a nice little setup, you can attract players in the off season. I think it's, you know, big money in it.
Before we go on to F1, boxing, and UFC, talking on sports with a ball in, did you see the shithousery in the rugby?
Back heel over the bar. Yeah. Who was that game?
I don't know, but they scored a try, and obviously the conversion was very, very close to the posts. And rather than run up and like kick it, he just stood there next to it and just back-heeled it.
Yeah.
And it was like, where do you kind of stand on that?
I'm all for it.
I'm all for it personally as well, but
it's not disrespect.
Is it not taking the piss a bit?
No, is it? Fuck.
It was great. If you haven't seen it, just Google it, just like back heel conversion or something.
Yeah.
And
I can't find it was, but
it was quite funny.
It was it's like there's nothing up with it. Like,
I just seen it kick up a bit of a fuss, whether it was on Sporting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The trying to find who it was, but can't.
Yeah, it was only a little clip just to see how you feel on it. Like,
no, I'm all good for it.
No, I'm good for it.
You've got to have a little bit. You've got to have periods of arrogance. It depends on it. All the best players in the world have it in every sport. But yeah, love the old rugby. The boys are on the way to the four in a row. Good old St Helens.
Are they? Yeah.
If we do 4 in a row, history making.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Our captain James Roby's going to retire at the end of the season.
Oh, it's written in the stars then. What price are they in to win the league?
Oh, we're top of the league at the minute, but we're
great prediction from George. Top of the league already. We're going to win the league.
No, but you go to the top of the league and then you have playoffs.
Oh, right.
So then you have to go through semi-finals and get to the grand final, which is at Old Trafford. Oh, come on, boys.
Before we move on to your two loves, boxing, UFC, few for F1.
Oh God, get the Al, Muskie, get the Al.
Interesting week there, you know. Well, it's the British Grand Prix this weekend, which would be interesting. I've done that.
400,000 people.
I didn't enjoy it.
Didn't you?
I was sitting too close to the road, like the
track. No.
Yeah, you'd have to wear it. You couldn't speak to anyone.
Yeah,
it's a bit shit.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good thing to do in hospitality.
Yeah,
like you couldn't do it in like the tats. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. There's an Instagram account called The Padded Seat.
Yeah,
seen it? And he goes around all sports doing like the hospitality.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'd love to do hospitality, but controversially, wouldn't want to do the British F1. I want to do like
Monaco, Vegas.
Because Monaco's is the actual race is a bit crap, innit?
No, like, I just wouldn't be fucking arsed, man. That's just me saying I want to go on to Monaco.
Dhabi, you know?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, that's where the SPORTCAST's going. But yeah, 400,000 people at Silverstone. Yeah. Lewis's car's got a bit of pace again.
I think if he's going to win one this season, it'll be that, won't it?
I just need him to win one. I bet RJ, didn't I? 4-1, give me, brother.
I mean, that's probably the only good thing that'll come out of F1 this weekend, because Bernie Ecclestone,
God,
he's 93 or something. Obviously, a lot of money. He's come out and defended Putin, saying that he would take a bullet for him.
Is that what he actually said?
Yeah.
What is going on?
He said he'd take a bullet for him. He's also said...
Lad, what?
What the fuck's he even saying, lad?
91-year-old was removed as chief executive.
So he's not only said he'd take a bullet for Putin.
He said Hamilton shouldn't.
Hamilton's got in a bit of a dispute. Well, he's had a bit of rivalry. And it was Verstappen, is it?
Yeah, and then Verstappen's father-in-law made a racist comment.
Said the racist. It was one of the Suarez kind of racism bits. One. It wasn't.
I think it was crossed. It was within like language. There was language barriers there was a bit of still.
What's he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, arguably racist. And then he's come out and said, Nelson Piquet was, I think, done a racial slur, and Ecklestone come out and said Hamilton should be happy that he's apologised. I don't know. I think he's just got a bee in his bonnet, Mr. Ecclestone.
Lad, do you know, I can just, all I'm imagining now is, have you ever seen that Instagram account, the comedian who pretends to be in the back office of Boris Johnson? And like, that's all I can think of right now. People just speak, no.
Just enough.
Yeah, that's it. You're 91, back to sleep. But that's the problem, you know. Do you know the problem in this world? Old, rich, white men.
Yeah. You know what? I want to say I don't agree with that. 'Cause I do hate all this kind of, because I do think young working class white men get tired with this all white privilege, old men, you know, aristocrat kind of white men.
Yeah.
And it's not the same, but he doesn't paint that, like, he doesn't help me and you.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't help anyone.
Because when you've got like an old white man who's, you know, sexist, racist, got loads of dough and does what the fuck he wants.
He said Putin should run Europe, didn't he?
People then look at all, you know, white men and think we're all the same.
Exactly.
I'm fucking skimp, Bernie, lad. And I'm not racist.
And I'm definitely not hanging around with you lunatic, but I like...
What a line to come out with, though. In what's going on in the world, I'd take a bullet for Putin.
Do you know what I would reply to that? Hopefully. Hopefully you do. Yeah. But it's just... I know we're trying to make a joke of it, but how bad is it?
He's missed the line a lot there, hasn't he? Like, he's
trying to stay relevant or something. But that stuff with Hamilton, who handled it, look, you know, I know loads of people don't like Lewis Hamilton, and I certainly don't like some of the things he says and does. But the way he handled it was classy. Like,
what did he say? I've not seen his response.
I think he just sort of like didn't play it off, but just said, "Look, it's nothing new to me. People say it to me all the time. I'm okay with it, you know." And he's trying not that he's okay with it, but he's like, you know, it's water up a duck, like I can deal with it. And I just think there'd be nothing sweeter than him to win the British Grand Prix this weekend. You know what I mean?
After that, maybe.
And if he just stood up and just threw the bird or something, but he hasn't got it in him, I don't think. But the fact that Nelson Piquet was, is that how you pronounce his name? Piquet? Picard? He's father-in-law to Max Verstappen, isn't he? So again, it's like this incestuous world rivalry, of craziness. But yeah, I'd love Lewis to win and just put a middle finger up to people like that. But again, it wasn't even the only display of racism in the past couple of weeks, was it? Someone said it.
So Red Bull have terminated, I think 2 or 3 contracts.
But it was the young lad, wasn't he?
Yeah, young lad. For racial slurs.
Vips.
So
he was on a game, wasn't he?
It is one for you. Bit off sport, a bit deep though.
He's on the driver programme, sorry.
So obviously, right, things are changing in society now for the better, I'd say, with regards to, no racism and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
How far though do you have to then take someone back and say you were gonna fuck it over for something you said 10 years ago?
Yeah, that's a totally different. Yeah, it has to be shown in context 100%. But
because if you look at like maybe a 22-year-old now who knows the world he lives in and is responsible and knows it's not cool to say racist stuff and is not racist himself, but it's not even cool to even make fun of it. But that same 22-year-old 10 years ago when he's 12, maybe was still not racist, but maybe said things that he shouldn't have said in a jokey way.
Yeah.
Are we going to throw the book at him now just because he's done it 10 years ago? I mean, that's what we need to, I think,
you have to have context. You have to have, recency context as well. I've never been racist. I'm not a racist person, but I know 10 years ago I would have, used words in certain ways that wouldn't be acceptable now. But
I said the word last week and someone said, you can say that no more, I went, no, sorry. Yeah. You know what word you can't say? Nitty gritty.
I've said that loads on this podcast.
It's racist, because that was used to describe, I think, the slaves on the bottom of the ship.
But I grew up saying that's gay, that lad.
Oh yeah, elf
and I couldn't support, gay and people's and their rights and stuff any more than I do. But I never meant it in that way. If I would have wrote that somewhere and someone brought it back, I'd probably get done now, wouldn't I? But I think you do need context.
I'd report you, like.
Yeah, you would. Like on Twitter DMs. Do you know Jordan Neal? Well, I think, But what he said, I didn't actually see the clip. I didn't actually want to watch it, to be honest. But I think it was on a gaming site, wasn't it, or streaming or something. But look what he was the reserve driver and a test driver for the Red Bull team. It's a great job. You're really in a good position, and he's terminated now, and no one's going to touch him. And
sad, isn't
it? He's ruined it himself. There's no one else to blame but himself. But for someone who was in such a promising position at such a young age,
I don't know what he said, but
that's what I mean. His career's now in tatters, isn't it? Because no one's going to now go, I can be reserve driver for us, because it brings attention you don't want.
For someone who does want attention, Tyson Fury.
I've been telling you this,
and I agree with you now. I agreed a little bit with you, but now wholeheartedly. What a hypocrite.
Jake Paul is a pussy. You see that one?
No.
He done like an event the other day. He turned the crowd, camera on the crowd, and he had the old crowd singing, Jake Paul is a pussy.
Well, I seen recently Tyson Fury's come out on a little video and he put a filter on it.
Perfect eyes.
And instant. How do you know what it is?
That's what he done. He does it all the time.
I unfollowed him, didn't I? Then I unfollowed him.
He does perfect eyes.
Why?
It makes your eyelashes look really like thin and spread out and stuff.
Weird. So anyway, he's done a video and he went, everyone needs to stop, abusing Joshua. He's made loads of money. He can go to the pub. He can spend times with his kids. Great, he smashed it. Everyone stop having a go at him. That's all he's done.
I know.
You are
useless.
Also, Tyson Fury, it took me 30 seconds to clip up a video of him going, and while I'm at it, you big steroid, useless dossier, anti-Joshua. He's just trying to stay relevant. He's retired.
Oh,
you know what?
Retired.
He said he has. As a boxer, fair play to you, mate. I actually liked him. And I do like him. Just not when he's being a hypocrite and talking shite.
To be honest, the hypocrite side of it is something that I personally had a big sort of irk with for a couple of years now. Even back to the point where we were in Vegas that time and I had it there. I think he says a lot of things without thinking. And I think he's in a position where the camera's in his face all the time.
I think he just forgets what he said.
Yeah. And it's even down to the stuff of, like, we've talked about in here, I've got a 54 plate Passat, and then some of the times he'll be in like a fur coat and look like a pimp. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I just think sometimes he gets rolled up in a character sometimes, and then because what he's saying about Joshua, I'm guessing it's come from a good place. He's trying, don't, but it is hypocritical, isn't it? Because if that fight ever happens, he will be shouting from the rooftops that he's useless, and then people will get this video and go, "What about this?" Do you know what I mean? And it's just
hot. Like I say, and I do like him.
He's a great fighter. He's a
fighter.
Brilliant.
And I actually like him when he's taking the piss all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, Sean, just do that all the time. Just don't then go back on it.
He's a brilliant heavyweight, and one of the best heavyweights in the world. Not the best heavyweight in the world, one of. But that's just Ukrainian Legion star. But he's like, sometimes I wish they'd just take his phone off him. I'd love now to not see Tyson Fury for 6 months, and then someone on Instagram just posts a picture of him in Morecambe just like smashing a bag, and then he's just like, Usyk, I'm going to smash it to bits, and then be like, yes, but just stop doing videos.
Well, I don't think that will happen because his younger brother Tommy is going to be in the news the next few weeks because he should be fighting that Jake Paul, although that was also a little bit cringy from him. He done a video as if like Homeland Security fucking stopped him at the airport. I felt like going, lad, you're a fucking YouTube
Stop
boxer.
Right there.
Do you know what I mean? All you do, lad, you go online, you're filling your Esther. It's sound, I've done it. Don't worry. No one's there like watching for Tommy Fury turning up.
I think if reported true, it could have been solved by him going to the British Embassy to organise it, but he didn't want to. But, the fact they said, we all know why he's been stopped. His family has links to a certain person who's wanted in that part of the world. Like, if you're dealing on that level of fame and sort of
that's what I mean.
Popularity, it's gonna come up, isn't it?
But surely, lad, he's got enough people around him, enough money to get ththings sorted.
It's also a thing. If you got stopped, why don't you just go and organise it and then do a video when you're on your way to the US and saying, look, it's the press conference is delayed by 2 days. This is why, but I'm back for the. Don't go on like in a white room going, I've been stopped. It just and it plays into Jake Paul's hands. He's having a field day with it.
I mean, I didn't have any respect for Tommy Fury anyway. And it's just gone to like minus fucking 36 now.
Would you bet on him to beat Jake Paul?
No, I hate them both.
No, Jake Paul's going to beat him,
You reckon?
Tommy Fury, lad.
I just wish you could, if a fight could end where they both knock each other out at the same time, I'll be watching.
Yeah. But the thing is, there's reports that, from the boxing side of it, that Tommy Fury's going to link up with Shane McGregor, who's one of the best trainers in the country, emerging on the world scene as well. If that's true, then I'm really encouraged because that tells me that he's taking it seriously. Because if he goes into that gym and he can hang with, he's going to have to spar really good fighters. But if he can do what Shane McGuigan's asking, and he can be around a boxing camp, that's not in the shadow of his brother, and he can do what the rest of that team are doing, and he keeps up and he develops a game plan, and that, I'd say great. You've definitely taken it serious. But if he just goes over there with Tyson on his right hand shoulder, and he just says everything Tyson
useless.
He just says everything Tyson says. Then but I'd love to see him to go with Shane McGregor and just like develop a game plan and go over there and beat him. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it remains to be seen August the 6th whether it's even going to happen. But they sold out. Well, not sold out. They booked Madison Square Garden.
Oh dear.
For that. Madison Square Garden. Just bear with me a minute.
The only thing, well, not the only thing, but one of the things I don't like about it is I just feel like that Jake Paul, as great as a celebrity he might be now, and as great as a businessman he might be now, and there's all these great YouTuber podcasts and all that, amazing. I hate the fact that he comes to prominence by filming people who were going to commit suicide.
That was his brother, though, wasn't it?
Was it? I was thinking it was him, you know.
Nah, Logan Paul's the one who did. Logan Paul did it in Japan.
Well, either way.
But yeah, he come up in a very, very similar way.
And I fucking hate that.
Yeah, I do. It's
really
disgusting.
do fucking hate that.
But if you think, I'm just trying to say that some of the fights that have been Ali Fraser 2, Rocky Marciano versus Joe Louis, Joe Calzaghe versus Roy Jones Jr. have all been at Madison Square Garden. And
Tommy Fury.
On the bottom of that list is going to be Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. It is annoying.
One fight that isn't annoying and is exciting, obviously, for yourself or for everyone who likes boxing is Joshua Usyk and Triple G Canelo.
Yeah, Joshua Usyk.
Fights announced now.
August the 20th. I don't think we've really touched them. They've had a couple of press conferences. Saudi have rolled out the red carpet. Yeah, I mean, to me, it just Usyk looks exceptionally confident. He said in an interview this week that the military in Ukraine told him, "You're not coming with us. You're going to fight."
Really,
Joshua? Yeah. So, I don't think Joshua would ever have the chance to beat Usyk unless, Usyk had his hands tied behind his back or something. But I don't think anyone will stop him that night, lad.
No.
I think you're fighting for something a little bit bigger than that. Ever be boxing,
exactly.
And I don't think you could stop him anyway. You know my thoughts on that. But when you've got someone like him who takes his country and his patriotism as serious as he does, I think he's coming to do damage, and he's coming to do it like. Yeah.
I think like knockouts this time.
I do. He did a thing yesterday or at the press conference. He held his hand up like that, and then as he brought it down, he did like the old it looked like he was putting a sword away. I thought, you cool bastard. How can I get to be as hard as you?
Do you know the answer? Never.
No. But interestingly, Joshua's got Robert Garcia in his corner. Angel Fernandez is training down in Loughborough. But all of the things that Eddie and all them are saying, I don't know if they're double bluffing, maybe they are, is that he's coming to be aggressive and he's going to put it right on Usyk and he's going to... Fucking suicide. You walk straight at him, you're getting planted, mate.
When is it? 20th of August?
20th of August, in Saudi. But, I mean, for me, I think he's got 4 rounds, I think, to catch Usyk cold. Because Joshua's gas tank is... what it is, isn't it? Yeah. It's never going to change, no matter what training you've got. You're just a massive dude who's got loads of muscle mass. And I just think that if this fight gets over 4 rounds and Usyk has not got a mark on him, he'll stop him. But I think he'll stop him anyway. Yeah. I think it'll be an iconic moment stoppage. But yeah, I mean, my thoughts on Usyk. But yeah, I think, and then obviously Triple G Canelo going out for the 3rd time. I think that's a bit past the sell-by date. Yeah, because Golovkin won twice and now they've waited till he's 40 to do the 3rd one. I mean, Canelo got busted up, didn't he? Thankfully by Bivol. And I think he now sees this as a thing of, well, look, I beat Golovkin. But, if there's any justice in the world, Golovkin will finally get his victory over him. But I just have doubts at 40 years of age whether he can still go to the well again. Do you know what I mean? What date is this one? 17th of September. So within a month of Joshua Usyk in it, but big month for boxing. But yeah, the one that I'm really excited about is Joshua Usyk, because it's just I'm not that thingy on the Canelo one. No, I mean, it is what it is. But the one hope for Golovkin is that he has beat him in the past, or he didn't get in the judges' scorecards. But Canelo, this whole thing about Canelo being unbeatable and all that, it's gone, hasn't it? Yeah. He's not unbeatable, never will be. So. I hope Golovkin gets his time in the sun, but I would imagine that it's Canelo's chance to get back on the horse, so to speak. But hopefully one day he gets chinned proper. You got in on this weekend for the boxing? Yeah, so we got it. We've got Big Joe Joyce, the Juggernaut, on BT Sport fighting. Meant to fight Joseph Parker, but it's now Christian Hammer. But Joyce is 13-0, 12 KOs. Obviously got beaten in the Olympics 2016 silver medalist. But for me, the biggest danger in the heavyweight division, Joe Joyce, the best chin in the division by far. No one wants to fight him because when he fought Dubois, they thought he was a bit of a soft touch. Went in there, busted him up. He's nearly got to fight Fury a few times, but they've sort of not dodged him obviously because Tyson Fury, but it's you don't need him. And I think he is the chief of the who needs him club. Why are you going to fight him? Because his engine's a joke. He can't be knocked out and he'll knock you out. So unless someone goes, you are fighting Joe Joyce for a lot of money, then no one's going to take it. And I imagine he'll bust Christian Hammer up quite nice this weekend. But got a couple of good fights on the undercard. You got Jason Cunningham versus Zolani Tete. Zolani Tete came to Liverpool, actually. When was that? Absolutely smoked Paul Butler a few years ago. Like, real bad. When was this? Good. It might have been like 2013 or something. Yeah, anyway, a couple of years ago, 2015. And he put Butler down.
Your knowledge, lad's fucking stupid.
Nah, that was Boxrec, but I just remember him coming. But then since, he's 29-4, 22 KOs, been knocked out twice himself, but at the top table, he's fighting Jason Cunningham. And I'll break it down on the betting show, but a little bit of a chance there, I think. Callum Johnson's on that card as well, but bit of a quiet one on BT Sport. So I wouldn't imagine many like sort of casuals are tuning in, but it'll be a decent card. We've got Chisora's back next weekend, isn't it?
Is he? Yeah. Against who?
Pulev before Joshua, but he looks awful to Chisora, mate. He looks really, really bad.
What are we on here, Joe? Time-wise, lad?
We are on just on an hour, and I've just kicked me. Good job, me empty Lucasade over there. Got an hour, lad. We just.
Boss.
What have we got? UFC left?
Yeah, round up on the old UFC, lad.
The greatest show on earth.
I was lucky enough to get asked to go on Paddy's Chattin podcast
you was
today.
How was he?
And he was in good form. He's fucking funny.
Yeah, he's like great, isn't he?
Well, what I will say on his old weight cut, that seems to be the big talking thing when anyone mentions Paddy. Lad, he looks sound.
Yeah.
Looks fucking sound.
A lot of Paddy's weight here, innit?
Yeah.
His body doesn't look.
He looks sound.
Yeah, he'll be okay.
And we had Shem
Rock
on the podcast. That'll be out for Patreon members on Sunday. Part 1 will be out for everyone on Monday. Part 2 will be out the week later. Shem Rock, anyone who doesn't know him, went on the run for 10 years for a crime he didn't commit. Learned UFC out in Malaysia. Become a fucking jiu-jitsu fucking ninja. And just started fucking strangling people, fucking tying people up all over the world. He's now making his mark here in the UK. Now he's back home.
With Paddy and Molly in next gen, yeah.
We had him on the pod. Great laugh. You know what? It was hilarious at times.
Sad, yeah.
Really fucking sad at times.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what I took away from it, inspiring to see how someone can turn their life around.
Yeah. I said to you after we stopped recording, and it's something I'll say to Shem as well when we give him, like, when he asked about it or whatever. He was honest about the life that he lived, and there was
honest about things where he probably didn't want to share as well.
Yeah, but there was no point of him saying, I was an angel, I didn't commit it. And he was very honest about what he'd done, and then he was honest about how humble and getting into MMA was. And one time he got choked out, his time in Asia, nearly getting to one championship, and now he's got his eyes set on the UFC. But we did 2.5 hours with him, didn't we? And it was it was brilliant.
On Patreon, it's going to be out in its entirety. For everyone else who's a minge bag and doesn't support us on Patreon, it's going to be in 2 halves. But so that was good. And it was good to talk to Paddy and all that. And yeah, he's looking great. He said he's gonna pull a Mooney to everyone, on his weight cut. And he says he hasn't. Anyone who's kind of doubted him, but yeah, he was good.
Jordan Leavitt does twerks in the octagon.
Yeah, I think he said he's gonna twerk over his face when he chokes out or something. He said he's gonna slut drop on him or something like that.
It's a solid fight. I expect Paddy to come through, but it's like where Paddy's been fighting is here. It's then like there. You know what I mean? It's a logical next step, but. I think Paddy is in the most competitive division in the UFC. But, he's making decent, Graham Boylan's just said he's got a new contract and more money and stuff like that, yeah. So you would imagine that I think that's why his level of competition's here now. So I think with this contract...
Well, he's signed one already now, is he?
Yeah, a new one, yeah. So I imagine now, keep an eye on Paddy's sort of opponents, because I imagine now it'll keep going like that. And, can't wait for UFC London. McGregor's back just before we cover the card. Dana saying McGregor's back, like he's coming back to the octagon.
I don't believe he's a bit like Tyson Fury. I don't fucking believe it until I see it.
But Dana was saying he's been offered movie roles, this, that, boxing fights, whatever, and he said no, I'm going back.
You know what, lad? I love McGregor. Like he is the reason I got into UFC. Like I'm imagining a lot of people are.
You look like him as well.
Yeah. I got said it.
That's why I said it.
Someone on Paddy's Chat and Pony commented saying I thought that was McGregor then.
Yes, this isn't Billy Walker.
But then someone also said that's YouTube comments for you. I just looked at the Chat and Pony thing when Paddy uploaded. I went, oh yeah, a few nice comments. He said someone went, there was like 99 lovely ones going, oh great this, that, and someone went, can't think of anyone more boring than Andy Grant.
Did he? I bet you that hurt you as well because you don't like.
It was nothing, lads. So yeah, it's quite funny.
I've had loads of. Someone called me a bellend once. Remember? Jordan
man,
is a bellend.
I sometimes from bored just see what shit I'm getting. What a line. Can't think of anyone more boring than Andy Grant.
Do you know, just going out your way to write that is like...
I've got a lot of time for that. A lot of time for that
pettiness. But the fact that it's like... It's so ridiculous and stupid that you almost respect it.
I almost respect it, lad.
I know.
Yeah, but McGregor, yeah, I don't... you know what? If he does get back to fighting, I'll be fucking dick riding McGregor all day long because I do love it.
I've got to see him once more.
But at the same time, I'm like, lad, you smashed life. Just go and die.
I know. Lad, I'm a romantic, I know. But don't you just want to hear one time more time?
I just want him to just...
No.
Yeah, of course,
lad, how we do with the island flag? Go on, lad, you can do it.
I would be the same. But I'll just look at that boat he's got parked on the Bay of Monaco with his bird and his kids, and I'm like, lad, you've won. Stay there.
I'm almost disappointed in myself because any other person I'd be like, he's fucking leaving me. He punched old men. He's like done this. But lad, there's something about it just gets me.
I think he's great, lad.
No,
he's a tit.
He's a tit.
A lot of my mates are fucking love them to bits, but everyone's a fucking tit, aren't they? I'm a tit, and I think I'm a nice guy, but I'm also a tit.
Justified, but I just think I'd love him to see get one more big win. Do you know what I mean?
But he won't. His next fight won't be for a big win, will it?
No, I know.
If you're gonna throw him into some killer straight away, and it'd be like,
if he fights the human backpack, he's.
That's what I mean. But if he does that and wins, then it's like, wow.
Did you see his little reel this week? Charles Oliveira.
No.
He was on a Brazilian podcast. He's talking about them taking the belt from him.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, his dad rang him in tears, and and then his daughter rang him saying, if they took your belt, and he had to send his ex-wife over to his house to show his daughter his belt, and then he said everyone around me was sad, and his words were, I said, turn that effing music up, bro, I'm going to kill this guy. And then he went out and done what he done. Charles is the man, lad.
Yeah.
Charles is the man.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend, UFC 276. Oh, mate, what a card.
Hit me with it, lad.
What a card. The top of the bill, obviously, Izzy, middleweight king, one of the coolest men in the game. Mm-hmm. He's fighting Jared Cannonier, the killer gorilla. Used to fight a heavyweight.
What's his name?
The killer gorilla. But Jared Cannonier was a heavyweight, out of shape from Alaska. Just a fat dude at heavyweight, banging people out. Started training a bit, went, okay, I'm gonna go to light heavyweight. And then I think he went to don't know what gym it was. It might have been American Top Team. I might be wrong on that, but he went to some gym anyway, and they were like, you're a middleweight. Lad, he was fighting a heavyweight just because he was out of shape. Now he's a fully fledged middleweight. That's 180, fucking a lot of weight anyway that he's cut off. And now he's in insane shape. He's stacked. But Adesanya, mate, is just the best middleweight in the world.
Has he been beat, Adesanya?
Yeah, but so not as a UFC fighter, but he got brutally knocked out in kickboxing by a guy called Alex Pereira. UFC have signed Alex Pereira, give him 2 little fights, and they've put him on the main card here. To fighting Sean Strickland at middleweight.
Redemption coming up soon.
So he's looking like to do that. But if you haven't seen the knockout of Israel Adesanya, it's brutal. But if you watch the fight, Adesanya's winning, but he just gets caught with something crazy. That's a narrative, obviously, that they're building. But I think Jared Cannonier is heavy set, muscled guy, just sort of like that. And anyone who fights Adesanya like that, he's just going to be doing spinning kicks. He'll be doing pretending he's taking notes and all that. And it's just made for him. You know what I mean? I don't know how you beat him. I don't think you can at this point, but definitely not someone who's marching forward. No. And I think it's just it's a chance for Adesanya to just do what he does. The co-main event, Volkanovski versus Holloway, is a trilogy fight for the featherweight belt. Unbelievable. The second fight is so criminally underrated. I actually think Holloway won the second fight, but didn't get it on the cards, and he gets a chance here again. But all the way down, you got obviously that fight, Strickland Pereira, Robbie Lawler, who's a legend, Sean O'Malley, who we spoke about loads of times. He's fighting on the main card in his first real fight against Pedro Munoz, who hasn't been stopped. I think his last 5 defeats, right, have all been, let me get this up, Pedro Munoz has been given absolutely no favours whatsoever, just gets lined up with killer after killer. I think his last 5 defeats have been against all people who've been champion. So we got Dominic Cruz, Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar, Aljamain Sterling, who's the current champion, and John Dodson was his last 4 defeats against all people who've held the belt. Just an absolute, The best fight for me on the prelims is Brad Riddell versus Jalen Turner. I don't even see Jalen Turner, but he weighs in with a tarantula in his hand.
What?
And he was what's it when you scare the spiders? Agoraphobia or something.
Yeah.
So he had a serious, intense fear of spiders, and decided to face it head on. And like now he keeps spiders in his bedroom. And there's a thing on YouTube. Go and have a look.
Weirdo.
He's about 6'4" or something, lightweight, huge again, and more killers at lightweight. When he weighs in, and if he makes the weight, opens his hand, big fat tarantula, like a proper hairy beast.
What?
And he's called a tarantula.
I'm not scared. I've held a tarantula. I'm not scared of him. That's weird. That though.
Carries him around. But he wanted to be called the Spider, but obviously that was Anderson Silva's nickname, and that's his favourite fight. He was like, I can't take that, so he just went with the tarantula. Yeah, but then so you got him on the card. You got Ian Gary, who calls himself from Ireland, calls himself Conor McGregor 2.0. Again, he's on another.
That's a shit nickname. That.
No, he's called the what's he called? Ian Gary.
You'd be calling yourself Andy Grant 2.0 next.
Messing, aren't you? Ian Gary, he's called. The Future, he's called. But after his fight, he said to Dana, this is the takeover 2.0 of McGregor. That's what McGregor said. And then someone just further down the card, a South African called Dricus du Plessis. Keep an eye out for him. But again, another pay-per-view card in America on BT Sport in the UK. Banger.
I'm sensing a heavy betting show.
You're sensing a heavy betting show. Since Monday, I have almost been divorced this week.
Why?
Because every single night I get home, instead of eating me dinner at the table with my wife, I've sat watching the UFC fight. And we sat down. This just to be personal. Sat down yesterday on the couch and she went, "Go on then, another UFC fight, is it?" And then she asked me to take some stuff up the stairs, which I, as every man does, just give it a little drop the shoulder, left it. And she said, I said, "Oh, love, I forgot, sorry." She went, "You can remember he fought in the UFC in 2013, but you can't remember the effing washing."
I'm on Emily's side here, lad. Bear in note, if you know on Patreon as well, Emily is like 35 weeks pregnant as well. And he's fucking dropping the shoulder and taking stuff upstairs.
Just like that, a load of washing, just a bump. A heavy betting show this week on Patreon. Come and get involved. That's out Saturday morning. But yeah, heavy UFC card this week. Heavy. Yeah,
as George said, then the betting show, it's only available to Patreon members. Don't be a minge bag. It's £1 a week. If you've been on for the last couple of months, you will have paid for it for the fucking year. Yeah. Anyway, also, like I said at the start, you get £100 Monterex voucher if you win the raffle, and you're automatically entered into the raffle just by supporting on Patreon. You also get the Wednesday show, which is a good laugh, and early access to all our shows and live events and quizzes. Yeah, we've got a quiz coming up, and then when we hit a certain number, there'll be a Boss live event, but you won't be able to come in unless you're. Do you know what as well? We've done a quiz, and it went in 24 hours thanks to the support of Patreon members. So it's a belter little community now, a good few hundred strong. The other thing is as well, if you come and join for £4 and you like your podcast, we've got 30 odd in the bank. Yeah. That's something, like you just start and just listen to all the craziness we've done throughout the year. It's been funny. We've had a proper. Do you know what? What I'd plead to people is get involved now, because this is going to be big. Yeah. And then loads of people are getting involved. Like, come and get involved now. And we're interactive on there. We're not just sitting there taking your money and then we chat on there, we get involved in the comments. I feel like I know after people. Yeah, I do. I speak to like loads of them on Instagram DM. Yeah, same. Well, it's not this like we don't just throw content on there and go, oh yeah, tell us how great we are. We're involved. It's great. Get involved. It's growing all the time. The opportunities are growing all the time. It's a good laugh. And if you want to continue being a minge bag, then that sounds. Yeah. Just listen to the sports show. Still hope you enjoyed the sports show. For everyone else, see you on Patreon.